freedom fighters who led their life for our country. So starting with number 1, Sardar Patel. Brave deeds at young age earned Patel the title Iron Man of India. Sardar Patel was born in the year 1875 and known for his contribution to the country. His contribution to the field of Bardoli Satyagraha got him the name Sardar. Despite being a famous lawyer, he withdrew his profession and contributed against the freedom of the country. After independence, he became the Deputy Prime Minister of India and played a vital role in integration of India and dedicated himself to the merging princely state within the Indian Union. Now, second one is Captain Vikram Batra. Born in Palampur, Himachal Pradesh, Captain Vikram Batra of 13 Jammu and Kashmir Rifles is known as the hero of Kargil War. He led one of the toughest war operations in Kashmir and was also called Sher Shah. He was instrumental in recapturing Peak 5140, which is located at an altitude of 17,000 feet. During this mission, Batra was seriously injured but still managed to kill 3 enemy soldiers in close combat. After recapturing Peak 5140, he went on yet another difficult mission to recapture Peak 4875 on July 7, 1999. Batra made a call to his father before he left and told him about the crucial mission. Hardly did he know that this would be his last call home. It was one of the most difficult missions the Indian Army attempted because the Pakistani forces were sitting above the peak at 16,000 feet and the climb gradient was 80 degrees. On their way up, one of Batra's fellow officers was severely injured. Batra set out to save him. When a Subedar tried to help him save the officer, Batra pushed him aside, saying, "You have children, step aside." He saved his fellow soldier but was killed while clearing enemy positions. Batra's last word were, "Jai Mata Di." The 2003 Hindi film Eloc Kargil had a character based on Captain Batra, played by Abhishek Bachchan. Third one is Tatya Tope. Tatya Tope was one of the great classic rebellions in 1857 and Indian freedom fighter. He was born in the year 1814 and led a group of soldiers to fight against the dominance of the British. Tope is a firm follower of Nana Sahib and continued his duty as journal despite extreme circumstances. He made journal with Hum leave Kanpur and was one behind reinstating Rani Lakshmibai to Gwalior. So the fourth one is Major Ramaswamy Parameshwaran. Born in Mumbai, Maharashtra, Parameshwaran is yet another braveheart who died at the age of 41 in 1987 in India's Sri Lanka operations. He was awarded the Paramveer Chakra posthumously his last breath. The Indians managed to kill 5 militants and recovered 3 rifles and 2 rocket launchers from the militants. Fifth one is Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib led a group of ardent rebellions and made a significant contribution in the year 1857. He threatened the British camp by killing the survivors of the force and overwhelmed the British forces in Kanpur. Nana Sahib was a skilled administrator and prepared. He led thousands of Indian soldiers. Nana Sahib died in 1859. Now, the sixth one is Rifleman Just One Singh Rawat. Words fall short when it comes to telling this brave man's story. A hero of 1962 Indo-China War, Rifleman Just One Singh Rawat of the 4th Grewal Rifles Infantry Regiment is the only soldier in the history of the Indian Army who has risen through the ranks after his death. He was promoted to the rank of Major General 40 years after his death and is still believed to command troops guarding India's eastern frontiers with China. During the 1962 war, soldiers were ordered to vacate their positions as soon as possible due to heavy casualties against the Chinese at the Battle of Nurangnan. But Just One did not leave his position and continued to fight even after the other soldiers had left. Rawat was helped by 2 Monapa tribal girls named Zela and Nura. The trio set up weapons at separate points and maintained a volley of fire to make the Chinese believe that they were facing a huge battalion. Rawat successfully managed to fool them for 3 days, but the Chinese found out about the setup through a man who used to supply rations to Rawat and the 2 girls. At this point, Rawat chose to shoot himself rather than be captured by the Chinese forces. The Chinese were so furious on learning that they had been fighting a single soldier at this time that they cut off Rawat's head and carried it back to China. The post that Rawat held to repulse the Chinese troops has been renamed Just One Gar in recognition of his courage. A small shrine to Rawat has also come up at the battle spot. All army personnel who passed by this route made sure to pay their respect to him there. Rifleman Just One Rawat was awarded the Mahavir Chakra posthumously. So on number 7th, Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh, the controversial freedom fighter of India. He was a famous revolutionary and became the proud Mitra for the country. He was born in a Sikh family of freedom fighter in Punjab in the year 1907. Bhagat Singh was born patriotic and joined the non-cooperation movement in 1921. To instill patriotism in the youth of Punjab, he began the Naujawan Bharat Sabha. He became extreme in his fight for freedom with the Chauri Chaura Misfire incident. The freedom fighter Bhagat Singh died on March 23, 1931. deceased is Brigadier Uzman. Born in Bibipur, Uttar Pradesh, this man of steel joined the army in 1934 during the Indo-Pakistan War of 1947 and 1948. Brigadier Uzman repulsed a fierce attack on Nusera and Jungle, who highly strategic locations in Jammu and Kashmir, and was named by his fellow soldiers the Lion of Nusera. At the time of partition, he was made the officer of becoming the chief of Pakistani army, but he chose to stay in India. He left the Baloch regiment of Pakistan and was inducted into Dogra regiment in India. After the Battle of Nusera, where the Pakistanis suffered heavy casualties, at his head, the same country that had quoted him to become the chief of the army now went ahead and placed prize money of 50,000 on his head. Brigadier Uzman was not just a fierce soldier but also a compassionate man. He never got married and used to donate a large part of his salary to support poor children and pay for their education. This inspiring and exemplary officer of Indian Army died on July 3, 1948, defending Jahangir. His last words were, "I am dying, but let not the territory we were fighting to fall to the enemy." He was awarded the Mahavir Chakra posthumously for his great courage and leadership. So Advaits, this is all. We know that we just covered few freedom fighters and few soldiers, but it is impossible for anyone to cover the whole group in one video. So that's all. I want to say something